welcome everybody to episode whatever, I can't remember what number, of the Level Up podcast. And our goal today is help you all level up your business and your life in ways that you probably have not thought about, or at least not thought deeply enough about. And hopefully we can help you with that. Next to me in digital studio is my cohort in crime, Erik Thurwinger.
Hey, everybody.
I always mispronounce his name. Thurwinger.
Yeah, whatever you're in the mood for.
You know, I did a video this weekend, Erik, and the thing that does the auto captions.
Oh,
it read, and I was using your name on it, and it put you down as that sausage, Thuringer. So yeah. You have
autocorrect is not my friend.
Yeah, right. So. Well, today we're going to talk about planning and all that kind of stuff. And we are really happy to have Kim Nagle with us today in Digital Studio. We are going to talk about it. So first of all, welcome, Kim.
Thank you. I am excited. I am looking forward to the entrepreneurial energy, the problem-solving energy.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good time overall.
I like it.
Well, we've got a lot of people to help. We're in a time of change and people need a plan and all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad and thankful that you're here. And I know Erik is as well.
Absolutely.
Erik Thurwinger is as well.
That's true. That autocorrect might pick that one up.
If you're very deliberate about it. So, well, Kim wrote this great book called The Damn Plan. And Erik comes from a place of planning, and I'm a big believer in planning. And I think now more than ever, we have to be pretty diligent about it, given the times we're living in. But Kim, you had some fun with the title. You know, it's right there. And I didn't know. I read it, and I didn't know until we met that DAMN was actually an acronym. And so the book is The Damn Plan, everybody. But the word is also an acronym. So let's go. Kim, what is it? What's it mean?
Right.
What's it stand for?
Well, first of all, everybody knows damn is a pretty damn good word to say. And it's got lots of good uses, you know. It's damn, that was a good game last night. Or damn, my team lost. I mean, you can up level it, you can pull it down, you can use it as just about anything. But 30 years in business planning, 30 years of helping people build enterprises that they truly love, that actually pay them what they're worth. There was a comment all the time that said, do you have a damn plan? Are you working your damn plan? So that's where it all started. And then it was some brainstorming amongst friends. What is DAM? How could we use it? It probably needs to become an acronym. So it became Determined Decisions. Act consistently, mind your business, no excuses. So really, when it all got wrapped together, it wasn't, yes, it's about the principles of planning, but it was more about an attitude. And we think it's a pretty damn good attitude. How many times have I said it so far?
Hey, you've worked it in. I like it because you can continually repurpose that. And the best thing about acronym is people remember it. They remember acronyms, and it gets them back into that mindset that's so important.
Well, that was one of the reasons why we branded it that way. It was out of that a bit of frustration, you might say, of people constantly, they're going to write a business plan, and we're going to talk about this, the value of a good business plan and how business plans don't work and how some do. But we really wanted to call people's attention. We wanted to kind of give them a little kick in the backside with love.
Yeah.
That, hey, you're worth more than the effort you're putting in.
I'm glad you did, and I'm glad you do, and I'm glad you both do, because I think there is a comfort, something about like, oh, we just need a plan, right? Yeah. And then people get frustrated. Well, just get the damn plan done. And it becomes this thing of hope, and then it becomes this thing of turmoil. Like, oh yeah, we need a plan. With a good plan, we can do that. The plan will help us. The plan. And then a bunch of time passes and people are scattering about trying to do it. It's like, where's the damn thing? Right? There's this weird dilemma.
I think it becomes a checkbox item for people. I think they feel that I think that the plan fits in sometimes where you look at mission, vision, core values, and they go, all right, we got it, we got it, we got it. We have our damn plan, we got that. And then they just don't use it. And that's the biggest problem is they have things as entrepreneurs and business owners and business leaders that we know we need, right? We have all these things we know we need. We have workflow that we don't use, a mission statement nobody knows, a plan where we can't even find it. And it becomes a checkbox item, and you have to breathe life into these things.
Oh, and that's why I didn't tell you what determined decisions are. I fought for determined decisions. When I came up with the concept, my editor wanted to take it out, take the hyphen out, and I said, no, 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 no. We need determined decisions. And I define determined decisions as decisions that we make that are based in the fact, based in our truth. And that mission statement, that vision is part of our truth. Yeah. And they're backed up with our resolve. So we actually believe in them. We're resolved to get them done, and our willingness to act, because that's the difference between a plan that is pretty and sits on the shelf and a plan that actually gets done.
That's right.
Is our willingness to act.
Yeah. Can we talk more about that? Let's talk more about that, because there is a difference between having a plan complete and planning. And I know that, that's really why Erik doesn't have any more hair. He pulled it all out, struggling with that.
Long time ago.
Struggling with that. But, that having a plan and planning and the big difference there, can you guys go there? Can you guys kind of share some thoughts on why it is?
Kim, I'll let you start off.
Well, I'll start out and just feed the conversation. There is a simple 80-20 rule for business. 80% working on your business and 20% working in it. That is what planning in my world is all about. And we've got a lot of changes in our environment. There's changes in our personal lives that occur every day. Yeah. And so consequently, our plan is very, very fluid and dynamic, but it's not willy-nilly. It's not willy-nilly at all. It is about working on your business. What's working, what's not? Can we do more of what's working? Can we elevate this piece? Can we quit doing this? Whatever it is, that is what planning is to me.
Yeah, and I think, it's interesting, John, because I think there's the really three things that you look at is you have to create the plan, and then you got to have the plan, and then you got to use the plan. And I think there's different levels of engagement at all three of those, because probably Kim, like you, I've walked into businesses that have a plan and it's just gathering dust. It's a great paperweight. It's another item in their bookshelf, but they don't use it. So they went through the mindset, or at least the motions, if you will, of I created a plan, and then they go back to business as usual. And so they really have to get into that mindset of using it.
Kim, how do you help people get there? So those who are frustrated with that, like, we spent $30,000 on a plan, it's collecting dust. There's a reason they spent that money, and there's a reason they're not using it, and mind shifts need to change. How do you help these poor folks that are trying to get through that?
Well, all too often, business plans are written with the sole intent of getting money, of financing something, or attracting an investor, or proving to somebody that this will work. And so they go about the planning process with that idea, let me prove that it'll work. And, that's a false start from the very beginning, because a good plan actually sets out, like any good science experiment, you have a hypothesis. Let's prove this wrong. Let's kind of put some screws to it. Let's change the variables to see if, in fact, it can weather the storms that are natural in business, or whether it can meet the new opportunities that exist. Let's come at it from an approach of not let's somehow prove on paper that it'll work, to let's actually think this through. And I ask everyone I do work with, to imagine. And this is like one of those tools that a lot of very traditional business planners don't think about. But I ask my clients to walk through a day in the life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ask them to imagine that fitting into their very real life of the things that have to happen.
Yeah.
And we talk about time, and we talk about relationships, we talk about health, we talk about money, what is needed, what do I have to have? And we really bring it to reality. So I think, when you talk about why businesses, we build business plans to somehow check that box. I think you said that, Eric.
Yeah.
It's just a box check. Okay, I've got a business plan, right? So I'm good. I've got my LLC, so I'm good, right? I'm a real business now. Nothing happens until you act. And if you are not able, because of your life, because of your willingness to actually implement, you might have a great business plan, but you might want to consider selling it to somebody who can actually do it.
Well, there's the
difference.
magic.
I get a little hardcore sometimes. Can you guys tell I'm just a little? I get a little excitable about this.
Don't pull punches. Exactly, Eric.
And I think the thing is that I think business plan in and of itself is a very specific term, right? Business plan. It's used for financing. It's used to present this to banks or investors, and that's not the plan that most people need. Most people have to create the plan they need for where they want to go. So I meet a lot of salespeople, and they'll say, "Well, here's our sales goals." I said, "Where's your sales plan?" They said, "We don't have one." It's okay. And then you meet people running operational departments, and they don't have an operational plan or a workflow plan, or they want to do community outreach. I said, "Where's your community outreach plan?" And so oftentimes I think they don't understand that there's other flavors to plans, and they have to find the one that is going to help them to get to where they want to go. For us, we call it a flight plan because we feel that businesses should take flight. And so we're able to customize it to where their business needs to go, a destination. But I think that there's so many types of plans. You could slap plan at the back of anything. And there's so many types. It's almost hard for sometimes people to choose what plan is right for their organization or this group of people to work on. Some businesses have 10 people, some have 10,000. So there's different levels of it too, of understanding the plan that you're supposed to be working.
Eric, you come from that military background, and then you had told me something about first contact and plans or something like that. What is that again? Remind me of that.
Well, no flight takes off without a flight plan. So when you're looking at the military, everything starts with a plan, then it's broken down into the actions, like you were talking about, Kim. They don't just go, "Hey, or hold my beer and watch this."
Hold my beer and let me watch
That is kind of fun.
It's not like that. Every operation is based on how can it support the plan. And I think that's what's missing in business so much, is that actions are being taken, but we're not connecting them to a plan. And so we're often disappointed where people are with their mindset, their performance, their results. But then when you say, "Well, is this linked to your plan?" And they say, "Well, we don't have a plan." I said, "All right, well, you can't be frustrated with this person for being off target when you didn't tell them what the target was." And that's why the plan is so important. You don't maneuver your troops to some location and just make it up. It's part of the plan. And so I think that, from that standpoint, I always operate on the mindset that if you're going to move people, it has to be part of the plan. They have to be moved by your plan, and the plan has to move them. It goes both ways. Because if the troops don't believe in the plan, they don't want to move forward. Now they might, but they don't want to. And I think probably you've encountered that too, Kim, where you don't have the buy-in, or the teams, they're not bought into the plan, and then the plan can go nowhere.
Well, it's interesting, I'm pretty good at winging it from time to time, but truly and there's nothing like just taking a risk. It depends upon what's at stake, but I found business success when I had an actually doable action plan. And that's what we call it. So everything you talked about, the marketing, the sales, everything, if it's not actually doable, and what I mean by that is that willingness, that resolve, that belief that I can see it, I can feel it, I can touch it. It fits into our plan. We actually have the pieces in place to implement. How many times, Eric, have you seen a plan that was created, an action plan, but resources weren't there? The resources weren't there to actually get it done, or the skills or the talent of the individual or the teams weren't there to get it done. So it's more than saying we're going to make 10 million in sales next year, and here's what our social media strategy is. Here's our, one-to-one connection strategy. Here's our strategy. There's more to it than that.
Yeah,
There is
everything has to be linked.
I believe there has to be belief. I mean, when it comes right down to it, it's hard to get out of bed in the morning if you don't believe in what you're doing.
That's right.
And I think is, and it doesn't matter what level of business you're at.
And a plan, it helps leaders to remove this statement that they hate hearing, but they cause it, which is here we go again. And a lot of times they'll say the same goals, right? We're going to double sales. We're going to get to 10 million. We're going to do this, that, and the next thing. And without a plan, it's hard to get there. So when they don't get there, then they get excited on the anniversary of saying it, they say it again. And then people eventually, the trust in the leader starts to diminish. And then when the leader has a great idea, people just say, well, here we go again. Yeah. And so that plan, the plan is such a confirmation of your commitment level. It locks you in and says, I'm so committed to what I just said. I've got a plan for it. And that's where the buy-in comes from. Leaders without plans are like ships without a rudder. They don't know what direction they're going in. They're at the mercy of the current. They're hoping, but you want people to get on board, whether it's in your boat, or your car, or your plane, and you can't say, get on board. I have no plan.
Follow me anyway. Follow me anyway, people. I like what you said.
Follow me. I know where I'm going.
The 2024 plan. Hold my beer. Probably not the best. Probably not the best way to plan. But let's dig into that a little bit, because I think you guys are right. Some people, they embark on a plan or planning process for comfort. We feel the absence. They listen to a podcast like this and go, gosh darn it, we need a plan. Right now, by the end of the podcast, we'll have better ideas for them. But if you write it for comfort, that's not the best exercise. If you write it for progress, then you can get somewhere, because then it becomes, I think if you write it for comfort, it becomes a dust collector. If you write it for progress, it becomes a living, breathing thing. And I think that's where people need help is, how do I make this actionable? How do I bring this to life day in, day out? Eric, I remembered the thing, in battle, no plan survives first contact, right? The minute there's change, which is inevitable, it will always happen. You cannot avoid it. And all of a sudden, I think people go, the plan is for shit. It's like, no, you have to adapt. But talk about that. Talk about that living, breathing part that I think people struggle with.
Well, there's always going to be variables. I think that's the biggest thing about a plan. And what I reference when I do planning with a client, call it a flight plan, I always say there's going to be turbulence, and turbulence is unseen. So you can't always plan for it, but when it happens, you have to know how to navigate through it. So I know that if the three of us made a plan right now, tomorrow a variable is going to get in the way. There'll be something that comes up personally or professionally, right? Your best person quits. You're like, hey, shoot, I had this great plan and they're gone. Yeah. I think, planning is also for the unforeseen, actions that may happen or may need you to take, because something is going to happen, but it doesn't mean you put the plan on hold. You may have to just navigate. And that's why I think it can't be so rigid that it's impossible to do it perfectly. Like you said earlier, John, you got to have progress. So I think you have to be able to adapt to some of the unforeseen things coming.
Otherwise, it doesn't do very good. Kim?
That's right.
I love what you said, Eric. Planning is for the unforeseen.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, that is truly what it is all about. So it is, we have goals, and those goals are part of our plan. But our implementation, and in the DAM plan, M is for mind your business. So you're out there and you've got your determined decisions made, you've got your goals, you've got your willingness, you've got your resolve, you take action. The script gets flipped, something happens, it goes better, it goes worse than you expected. Well, if you don't have a constant pulse on that, if you're not constantly measuring where you're going and having somebody on your team, or you as the solopreneur, whoever is in charge of minding the business, needs to be able to
That's right.
say, yep, this is working. How do I know it's working? It really, and that needs to be based in fact. 84%. This is an interesting statistic.
Mhm.
It's hard to say. But Citibank some years ago did a study that said 84% of all small business owners do not have a financial plan.
Ah,
Yeah.
They do not run their businesses by the numbers.
Yeah.
And how do we, I go back, the DAM plan, DAMN is like this little 4-part flower that you
mhm.
can't take one petal off of.
Yeah.
They all must come together. And the whole idea of having a plan, knowing your numbers, knowing how you're doing, monitoring whether your actions are taking place, build momentum. Because they build confidence.
Yeah.
And because when things are working and you can actually prove it, guess what? We're motivated by pleasure. And pleasure is just a nice bottom line sometimes. Pleasure is knowing that what I put into action is actually working.
Yeah.
But so your plan itself is a huge tool, a very effective tool for motivating people, for motivating yourself. If you measure it, if you use it.
Here's what's interesting on that statistic. So I looked at basically the last 10 years of going in and coaching businesses, whether it's leadership or sales or planning. And I always ask to see their plan. And 70% of the business that I step into have nothing written down. They have no written direction for the future. They're just winging it, like you said. I actually use that in my book. I said, if you don't have a plan, you're winging it. And it doesn't make any sense to say, what's your plan for the year? Winging it. Okay. Well, we could do better. But
Like hold my beer.
Hold my beer and let's wing it. But here's what's crazy is that 70% have nothing written down. They always do this. It's up here. And I'm like, that's not a good holding tank for that. And then there's another 25% that have a plan in some form of in progress. And I've only stepped into 5% of the businesses that I meet for the first time that can show you a plan and how they're using it day in and day out. But so few of them are using it. Even the ones that have it, it slowly goes back on the shelf. So I think to your point earlier, Kim, having the mindset of a planner, that's huge. You have to be working your plan, having it, working it, expanding it, having it, working it, navigating it. It's nonstop. It's not like a pilot takes off and says, I'll use the flight plan for a little bit, but the last half I'm winging it. Nobody would fly a person. It's like having a GPS. You don't go, I'm going to only GPS half of my trip. You GPS the whole thing. So, and I think it goes back to that mindset. We have to get people into the planning mindset. And I found that planning isn't the sexiest language. That's why I like that you have the acronym DAM. I think you got to bring some life to it because people don't show up to they don't show up every day and go, you know what I want to talk about in today's meeting? Planning. So you give them a way.
Let's do a strategic plan, everyone. Yes.
Hey,
better yet.
Oh my gosh.
Let's do one we won't use again.
Yeah. Let's do. It's going to be really pretty, and there's going to be pizza.
Yeah.
But the idea of a plan and planning, I am a proponent of having an overarching plan. Here's the general direction we're going in.
Yeah.
But the idea of planning really is a daily process. It's a daily commitment process.
Yeah.
And going back, I just keep it simple. I think the idea of planning and developing documents and keep it simple, keep it doable. Even just for especially our small business owners, they get so involved in using an app of some sort. Still, your best planning tool is probably a really good piece of paper some days. It just is.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Write
Don't
it down,
get so
use your
caught up in
whiteboard.
what you should do. Yeah, a great whiteboard. I helped a client go from, take what is now a 12-year-old organization out of a impossible situation into success with a whiteboard. And that whiteboard got changed every week. The whiteboard had new next steps. We had the overarching where we're going. We knew what we had to do. We had a timeline. We had our mission and our vision, like you said.
Mhm.
But that was it. Every day, this is what it is, and that's actually how I work with my clients. Is here's your next step. Here's your next 3 non-negotiable things that you're going to do.
Yeah, they need to know that stuff, and they need to be
to
unwavering
make this
on it.
happen.
And
Yeah.
here's
Yeah.
what I find interesting. Things that we say out loud should make sense. And here's one I got for, I guess I'll ask both of you. Should leaders in a business show up every day and support the plan? What would you guys say?
Yes.
Mm.
And it's not in their job descriptions. Most of them do not have the word plan in their job description. So here's what's interesting. When I go in and I work with a client, I said, let me see your job description. And none of them have anything about planning in there. Now, they will say strategic thinking, or even if they say strategic planning, they can't show you the plan. And so I like to get even the job descriptions describing the job they need to do, which involves the daily planning. So I ran a media company in Southern California. We had every single leader, those with direct reports, it said in there, to understand and support the plan for growth. And so that we were hiring leaders to do that, because it's amazing how many leaders don't even ask about a plan. They just show up to work and then they get some work done. They're not asking their leader, hey, can I see the plan? Can I participate in the plan? Can I be part of the planning session? What do you need me to do to support the plan? It's just they show up to work, and a plan gives you purpose.
You guys, I'm going to read you back some words that you both said that I think really are going to help a lot of people as they think about their planning, all that kind of stuff. Monitoring, building, measuring, motivating, daily process. Inherently, none of those can collect dust, right? Those are all verbs. So I think a plan is what you're getting at is a plan is a verb, not a noun. And we struggle with
it's definitely an action.